Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 748 for the 12th of March. And there's going to be, we start off with the frontline changes. There's only going to be one frontline changes over at Pervomaiske. So over at the Avdiivka Front at Pervomaiske, this is Pervomaiske, and the Pervomaiske, there is a geolocation of Russian forces being attacked by FPV drones from the Ukrainian armed forces, and this actually is in the area where it's supposed to be Russian. It's supposed to be Ukrainian, and so the Russians have advanced in this area here, and this confirms that the Russian forces have made progress in Pervomaiske, and they are pretty much nearing where the main center of Pervomaiske is. So we will continue to monitor and see, how these progress. And that's all for the frontline changes. And we go into the strategic and tactical reporting over in the Kherson Front. At the Kherson Front, there is some fighting in some of the beachheads. We are not sure where it is. I'm going to put it as cranky as usual. And over at Dnipropetrovsk, there is a helicopter guided missile strike being reported based on the geolocation, and that's about it for the Kherson Front. We move into the Zaporizhzhia Front. Over the Zaporizhzhia Front, the Russian forces are still trying to push in the Robotine as well as the western part of Verbove. That's all we know. The Ukrainians are not reported to be attacking. Previously, the past few days, the Ukrainians has been attacking Robotine, but this seems to be not the case anymore. So only the Russians are attacking. So, but that's about it for the front line. The attack over in the Kupyansk sector and towards Lubkove is not being reported again. So this means that the previous attack that we have reported yesterday is just a probing attack. And over just northeast of Alexandrivka, in the there is another HIMARS that was destroyed. So there is a very clear image of HIMARS and hiding in the forest region. I think there's not enough leaves, and then it got spotted. A massive strike was being thrown at it. We're not sure if it's an Iskander or is it an airstrike. It wasn't a direct hit, but the shrapnels clearly would have destroyed the HIMARS, or at least heavily totally disabled it. It would have to need massive repairs. So this is the second HIMARS clearly have been taken out of action through drone footages. So the Russians are getting very good at finding all these HIMARS. So that's all from the Zaporizhzhia Front. Clearly, we can see that it's really quiet right now in the Zaporizhzhia Front, other than this fighting over in the Orkiv salient. And moving on to the Donetsk Front. So this is Donetsk city, and this is the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, the Russian forces continue their attacks, mainly over in the Battle of Krasnohorivka, in the Battle of Georgievka, Battle of Novomihайлivka. So these are the main battles, and then we have some attack moving towards Vodian, and there's an attack towards Staromayoske. And this is a strategic situation. Other attacks that have been previously reported, like Novodarivka, Rivnopil, Shevchenko, all are not reported. Neither is Volodymyrivka. So we shall continue to monitor and see what is the situation. And moving into the Avdiivka Front. At the Avdiivka Front, the Ukrainians continue to put pressure on the Russian forces. There is Ukrainian attack reported at Novobakhmutivka, over at Olivka, Konenke, as well as and that's all. So that's all. And the Russians are attacking at Badaichi, Olivka, Tonenke, Pervomaiske. And so at Pervomaiske, as mentioned, there is frontline change. So the Russians are managing to push over there. There's not much other news in terms of the three settlements. I call them the BOT, the B-O-T, the Badaichi, Olivka, and Tonenke. At the BOT, I will say that there is rumors that the Russians have taken a little bit more ground at Badaichi, but I say don't think too much about that. I think this should be quite minor. Over at Nevelske, the Russian Defense Ministry yesterday reported that they have captured Nevelske. However, Deep State UA has disputed this claim entirely. They say that the settlement remains in the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. So, but then they did acknowledge that the situation is getting really bad. So the Russians are currently, putting pressure on Nevelske, but they don't think that it is captured. And Ryba themselves on the Russian side, so the Russian also is not sure. So they basically reported that the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Nevelske. However, there is no photos and video from the settlement, so they are not sure. So that's interesting that no one actually concurs that Nevelske is captured by the Russian forces except the Russian Defense Ministry's report. And clearly, this is just a Russian claim. The Ukrainian front line remains to be, like this. So this is the firm front line at this moment. We'll continue to monitor and see how this progress. So that's all from the Avdiivka Front. At the New York Front, the usual continues. It's getting usual. Ukrainian forces attacking in the Pivdishny region and then also at Pivdeny region, and that's about it. The Russian attack at Mayos is not being reported, so that's all over in the New York Front. Moving into the Bakhmut Front, in the southern flank of the Bakhmut Front, fighting is being reported at Klishchiivka and Andriivka. The interesting thing is there is a geolocation. This geolocated at this just off the railway line, is actually 2 Ukrainian soldiers that has surrendered and is being escorted by 1 Russian soldier, and is being geolocated right here, and they are walking, which means that the Russian control might be a bit more, given the fact that they are walking pretty safely, and there must be at least another 500 meters, of safety. So we shall continue to monitor and see, where is the front line. But it does feels like there must be some kind of very, safe radius for the Russians to be able to, just escort the Ukrainian POWs so safely. So that's all for the Klishchiivka region. Over in the northern flank, the fighting reported towards Khorykhorivka is not mentioned anymore. All we have is fighting reported in the western part of Chasiv, as well as fighting reported at Ivaniske. And that's about it. There's not much other news regarding in the Bakhmut Front. And that's all for the Bakhmut Front. Moving into the Siversk Front, there is no more fighting being reported at Verkhnokayamske or Sperne, nor at Rozdolevka. The only fighting is being reported at Bilohorivka in the Luhansk region, and that's about it. And so only here. So moving on over in the Kreminna Front. At the Kreminna Front, there is only fighting being reported at Terny, which is a Russian attack, and that's about it. At the Kreminna Front, there's also no other information. And the fighting reported at Nevsky was not repeated as well. So a lot of information has just went dead. Maybe something to do with the Belgorod Offensive. There's nothing over at the Zaporizhzhia Front. We move into the Kupyansk Front. This is Kupyansk city, and this is the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, there is the similar report of Russian forces attacking at Sinkivka and at Terbaivka. There is no other information, so we will continue to monitor and see how this progress. And that's all from the Kupyansk Front. And we move on into the Belgorod Front. At the Belgorod Front, after some time has passed, we have further information. So other than the few that we know, there is actually a new one that is at Novaya Tovozanka. This is actually reported by the Deep State UA. And there's also another one more is at, let me see. This one, Kozinka. So there's fighting reported at Kozinka. Previously, in yesterday's report, we did mention the fighting was at Velika Pisarivka. After that, the Deep State UA actually mentioned Kozinka. So we do know now that the Ukrainian forces attack in these 3 regions. So at this, what is this called again? Spaderonshino, at Kozinka, at Lozozaya Rudka, as well as this one at Nikotivka, which is the highway towards Belgorod, and then this new one over at Novaya Tovozanka. And this one is the one that I mentioned that there is a high chance that there must be some kind of attack coming in this direction towards Belgorod, because it only makes sense to be attacking in 2 different directions in a pincer movement. So this is all that we know. There is actually no clear evidence of Ukrainians managed to successfully have some kind of a position within the Russian territory they are all seemingly all stopped at the border region. So we will continue to monitor and see how this progress. The fighting, according to all the sources, seems to be suggesting that the fighting is still ongoing. This is a serious operation. What I mean by serious means that they are actually not doing probing, they are not doing sabotage. This is an offensive. That means they are really moving forward. And the difference between this time round versus the previous Belgorod raid is that the previous Belgorod raid do not involve tanks. And they also did not involve artillery, heavy artillery. This time around, the Ukrainians have heavy artillery, they have tanks. And so we will continue to monitor. The Russian forces seems to be really ready for them. So no, I don't think the Ukrainians is going to succeed anytime soon, at least for now. And further up north, there is a geolocation at Turia where some Ukrainian forces getting artillery strike. So nothing really much to talk about. This force over here in the Turia is probably just border defense force. I don't their duty is just to be there to prepare against any Russian incursions. So they are not part of this offensive into Belgorod. And there is still fighting being reported at Tekhino in the Sumy region, moving towards Kherson region. So but this still also did not have any results for the Ukrainian side. So that's all from the Belgorod front. And that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 748 for the 12th of March. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.